Be Marsh Boxing, what's going on, boxing as and fight fans around the world? I ain't the one for it, Slim. No, sirree, Bob. I ain't falling for the bullshit. I'm not going for the okey doke. You know what I mean? That's somebody, man. Look, nobody's gonna be beyond criticism on my channel. You know what I mean? That's what I'm about, man. I keep it fair and square, straight down the line. You know what I mean? There's a thin line between being a boxing fan and a fanboy, and I don't straddle neither side. I just stay right down the middle as a pure boxing fan. A guy like Gervonta Davis, the guy tells you what his whole career is about. You know what I mean? Was it a year or two ago? Whenever they bring up Lomachenko, the man starts stuttering and shit. Man can't even talk straight no more. You know what I mean? Whenever the name Lomachenko is brought up, you know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? Because now he's saying that he thinks he's ready for Lomachenko. Okay, that's what he says. You know what I mean? But show me better than you can tell me. You know what I mean? Actions speak louder than words. So Floyd Mayweather and Tank and them, man, these people are hypocritical. And it's crazy how people on these YouTube streets, man, they trying to hype up the man Tank Davis after that Ricardo Nunez fight. Like got a new superstar on the rise, new pay-per-view star on the rise. He'll knock out Tevin Farmer. Oh, this, that, and the third. That's all well and fine, you know what I mean? But to me, him and Tevin Farmer, real talk, they two, birds of a feather flock together. You know what I'm saying? One thing these two guys do consistently is fight guys we ain't never heard of. You know what I mean? That's one thing that Tank Davis and Tevin Farmer do. They fight guys we both never heard of. So what does a unification mean? Unifications are great. I love unifications. That's what I'm all about in boxing. But I think Tevin Farmer is arguably one of the weaker champions at junior lightweight division or super featherweight or 130-pound division. I consider Jamel Herring and himself to be the weakest links. I never hear Tank Davis talk about Andrew Cancio, the real WBA super champion at 130 pounds. That's a unification. That's a guy on the zone. You know what I'm saying? Hasn't that fight ever been brought up as a fight for Tank Davis? You know what I mean? Maybe what? Because people don't know Andrew Cancio. Nobody know who Tevin Farmer is neither. But ultimately, I made this video because of the contradiction, hypocrisy from Gervonta Davis, Floyd Mayweather, TMT, and the Mayweather promotions. Gervonta Tank Davis was asked about a potential fight versus Gary Russell. And this is what the man Tank Davis said verbatim quote. No, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? But I said, nah, I don't think so. Gary Russell, 31 years old from Capitol Heights, MD, right on the borderline of Northeast DC and Capitol Heights. You know what I mean? Tough city. Capitol Heights ain't no joke. I think Baltimore's a tough city too, no question about it. That's been well documented. With its documentaries, with its fictional TV shows, Baltimore is a tough, gritty city. But Capitol Heights is a tough city too. It's tougher than most parts of DC. Real talk, you know what I mean? See, them borderline towns in the District of Columbia ain't no joke. I mean, where Kevin Durant from, Seat Pleasant, these places ain't no joke, man. Shit goes down in these places. from fellas from the city, from DC, could cross over the borderline, do crime in Maryland, and cross right back on the borderline, and vice versa. Maryland fellas could do the same on them borderlines. Capitol Heights, Seat Pleasant, Silver Spring, all these Tacoma, Chillum, all these what is it? What is that? Hyattsville. You know what I mean? Over there by all these places ain't sweet. You know what I mean? So it'd be a great rivalry. It'd be a great rivalry for these two to get it in. Gervonta Tank Davis and Gary Russell Jr. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you what the man Mayweather said about that fight happening, and and you tell me if that ain't what y'all think about this statements. Quote: Gary Russell is a solid opponent. I don't think Gary Russell is fighting at 130 at this particular time. So when Gary Russell comes up to 130 and makes some noise, if Tank hasn't moved up to 135, then anything is possible down the line. But as for right now, we're looking forward to a unification bout. Maybe even Tank versus Gamboa. But right now, we want the Tevin Farmer fight. We'll make a unification bout because the belt that Tevin Farmer has, actually, Tank really still is the IBF champion and the WBA champion. So if we gotta take the belt twice, then that's what we're gonna do. Wow. That's what quote, end quote. Floyd Mayweather quotes. Gary Russell is a solid opponent. I don't think Gary Russell's fighting at 130, man. These guys are trying to freeze this man Gary Russell out. I don't want to hear nobody on these YouTube streets or anybody in boxing talking about inactivity from Gary Russell Jr. Don't talk none of that shit on these YouTube streets. Don't be saying nothing about Gary Russell Jr.'s inactivity. Well, fellas, they trying to fight you in your division, in divisions above you. What are you supposed to do? Fuck it. I'ma just fight once a year, clock my 2 million a year. Y'all motherfuckers don't even know that I make that kind of guap, and I get all proceeds like gate money proceeds. And Gary Russell is not even managed by Al Heyman. But the people who hate Al Heyman, PBC, who hate PBC and all that, they're gonna use use that as a crutch, and a reason to blame Al Heyman for Tank Davis not fighting Gary Russell. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's exactly what they gonna do. They don't blame Al Heyman for Leo Santa Cruz not fighting Gary Russell. And I broke down a whole video of why that fight hasn't happened. You know what I mean? But when it comes to a guy like Tank Davis, they're going to use that against Tank Davis and try shit on the man and say, oh, Al Heyman ain't making the fights. Al Heyman ain't got nothing to do with that, man. From what I know and because you ain't never heard Al Heyman say a goddamn word, neither have I, except those 2 words I told y'all I heard him say on that Floyd Mayweather Shea Mosley fight. Back up, back up. You know what I mean? You ain't never heard Al Heyman say what they're trying to do as far as the trajectory and the career path of Tank Davis. You ain't never heard him say nothing. So to leave him up out of that, you know what I mean? Floyd Mayweather gives you quotes. He gave you quotes the first day he was wearing that tablecloth. That tablecloth looked like a picnic tablecloth shirt he had when Tank Davis beat the Puerto Rican dude. What's that man's name? What's that Puerto Rican's name? Who has the IBF title? Who's even beat Tevin Farmer? Jose Pedraza. You know what I mean? You've got quotes from Floyd Mayweather on how they're avoiding people for Tank Davis. You ain't never heard a peep from Al Heyman, so leave him up out of that. You know what I mean? That's the thing about B Marsh Boxing and what you think, because look, I support boxing on all channels if the boxing is live and some good matches. You know what I mean? But I personally think the best boxing, the best fights, the best boxers in boxing, period, are on the PBC. You know what I mean? But because 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 bad apples in PBC are not doing what they're supposed to do, that does not mean that I'm going to bash the entity, the conglomerate of what PBC is. I'm gonna do that. PBC brings free boxing on my Channel 5 Fox. That's what I'm not gonna do. You know what I mean? But the hypocrisy from Floyd Mayweather talking about Gary Russell, he says I don't think Gary Russell's fighting at 130 at this particular time. So you know when Gary Russell comes up to 130 and makes some noise, if Tank hasn't moved up, look at all these stipulations. If he moves up to 130, if he makes some noise, if Tank hasn't moved up, what the fuck does that tell you? Then he says that anything is possible down the line. They'd rather fight Yuriokis Gamboa, 37-year-old has been, reflexes gone, he's shot. You know what I'm saying? A guy who's in his prime. I've got him beat in Tank Davis. I got him beat in Tank Davis, you know what I mean? Only thing is Tank Davis can crack, he got power in both hands, you know what I'm saying? And Yuriokis Gamboa, as we all know, he's a guy who's hit the canvas numerous times, gets back up, you know what I mean? Gets back up off the canvas. But the thing is, Gamboa, when he gets off the canvas or he gets hurt, we got those boxing out the window. He's a beautiful boxer when he was in his prime, but he throws that boxing shit out the window. Now it's an all warfare type of fight. You know what I mean? All I know is that the man Gervonta Tank Davis has made a career of fighting little dudes. He's fighting little guys. But Tank Davis, I'm sorry, Gary Russell is a little guy, but they don't want no smoke with him. Yeah, last I checked, Abner Maris, whom they didn't fight. They didn't fight. Abner Maris realized, man, look, he saw what happened between Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia. Yeah, those Hispanic fighters, him, Gary, Mikey Garcia, Abner Maris. I can't remember which other Hispanic fighter was talking with the fight that the fighters that were supposed to fight next. And there was, the odds was against them. They was talking about, yeah, I see something in him. I see something in him. Mikey was saying, I see something in Errol Spence. I could do something. I could exploit and beat. Same with Gervonta. Same with Abner Maris. He was saying the same thing. I see something in Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then he seen Abner Maris see what Errol Spence did to Mikey Garcia. All of a sudden, Abner Maris had a eye issue. He had a retina problem. Pulled up out that fight. That's probably the smartest thing that Abner Maris has done in his career, and I applaud him for that. Get the fuck up out that fight. You ain't belong in no ring with this man, Tank Davis. You know what I mean? Abner Maris is a guy I've seen fighting as low as 115 pounds, bantamweight and all that. You know what I mean? What's the point? Nobody wants to see that fight. But he was a guy who came up in weight, a guy who's never fought at 130 that was ready to fight him. The guy, Ricardo Nunez, is a guy, I don't know that guy, and I don't need to know him. Look what happened between him and Tank Davis, you know what I'm saying? The man got stopped in 2 rounds, you know what I mean? Easy work. Hugo Ruiz, the guy Tank Davis fought before that. This is a guy I've actually seen us fight as low as super flyweight as well. Guy who's fought at bantamweight, a guy who was a one-time champion at 122 super bantamweight. I think he didn't even get to defend his titles. You know what I'm saying? I think he lost it on his first title defense. You know what I mean? These are the guys that Tank Davis has been fighting. You check it. Um, what's the difference between those guys and Tank and Gary Russell? The difference is Gary Russell could actually outbox the man Gervonta Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. You know what I mean? Gary Russell is not sweet. He's a good boxer, fast hand speed, got high ring IQ. A guy who goes to the body. A guy who has a devastating right hook too, knockout type of devastating right hook. You know what I'm saying? Two southpaws, Tank Davis. I heard some people think that the man Tank Davis is a slick fighter. I don't think he's a slick fighter. I think he's a power puncher. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a puncher, straight up. You know what I mean? Jesus Cuela, that's a guy that Tank folded up in 3 rounds. This guy wasn't no 130 pounder. Yeah, I ain't hearing Floyd Mayweather talking about uh Jesus Cuela and Hugo Ruiz. I don't think they're I don't think they're at 130 pounds. They're still at featherweight, right? When they move up and make some noise, if Tank hasn't moved up to 135, then maybe. You never know. Anything is possible. They ain't say that shit about these guys, you know what I mean? But they depriving Mr. Gary Russell. What part of the game is that, you know what I'm saying? That's the hypocrisy, you know what I mean? That's the hypocrisy I'm talking about. Tank Davis and them, now they're talking about they want to fight um what's that guy? Tevin Farmer. Whoop de doo, man. Who the fuck has Tevin Farmer been fighting? For 5 fights, he's fought guys I've never heard of. I don't think I ever seen that type of world title run in my whole life, to be honest. I've seen guys get belts and they might defend against people. They might not be the greatest opposition, but at least it's guys I've heard of. You know what I mean? You check it. At least it's guys I've heard of. So now all of a sudden the pressure is on Tevin Farmer next. What? Because the man's supposed to jump as soon as Floyd and Gervonta Davis snap their finger and say, "We want to fight you next." I could recall when the man Tevin Farmer wanted that fight for the longest. Tank Davis went and said, "Oh, get a belt first. Get a belt first." Same type of shit Errol Spence told Bud Crawford. Go get a belt first. And the man, Tevin Farmer, got himself a belt. A belt that Tank Davis used to hold. And Floyd Mayweather still talking about that Tank Davis never lost that belt. He lost the belt, dog. The man lost the belt on the scales. He didn't make weight, so he lost the strap. All he had to do was not eat Doritos, Sonic, and Popeye's chicken consistently and then make weight, and he would have still kept his belt. I don't even consider him a world champ currently because you're not going to do that with me. You're not going to tell me he's a world champ when I seen Andrew Cancio beat Alberto Machado twice for that WBO super belt. You know what they did to Alberto Machado? Alberto Machado beat the man who beat the man. He beat Jezreel Corrales by knockout. No controversial, nothing. Man knocked him out. Now he's a WBO super champion because Corrales was that WBA super champion at 130 pounds. Nobody was calling him no regular or interim or world champ. The man he beat, Takashi Uchiyama, nobody was calling them no regular, interim, or WBA world, quote unquote, world champion, not the super champ, world champ. Nobody was doing that. But then when Tank Davis beats Jesus Cuela, a guy who had been out the ring for 11 months, a guy who had never, ever, ever, ever in his life fought at 130, moved up from 126. Now he beats this guy, Jesus Cuela, for a vacant WBO belt. All of a sudden, the WBA just demotes Alberto Machado and make him just a regular or world champ. And then they promote Tank Davis as the super champ. How comes? Why? Boxing fans who are Gervonta Tank Davis fanatics, fanboys. Why you never questioned that or brought that to the table or even acknowledged that? They don't even acknowledge Andrew Cancio, the man who beat Alberto Machado twice, folded him up with body shots. You know what I'm saying? Beat him twice this year. Cancil's far better opposition than Tank Davis. Straight up. There's Miguel Burchild out there too. WBC champ. More prestigious belt than any of those stupid belts any of those guys are holding at 130. If it ain't the WBC belt, then stop. That's a belt that Zuma Nelson had and Floyd Mayweather and Gennaro Hernandez. Great fighters at 130 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So Tank Davis and Floyd Mayweather, stop contradicting yourself, man. Stop with the bullshit talking about the man Gary Russell. Oh, I think he's still at a 126. If he moves up to 130, and then if he makes some noise, and if Tank is still fighting at 130, if he hasn't moved up to lightweight, man, he ain't gonna move up to lightweight no time soon. Because Lomachenko's looming. They'll move up there. They'll probably want that fighter when Lomachenko looks vulnerable. Kind of like when Triple G looked vulnerable. That's when Canoli and them he jumped on the opportunity when Triple G looked vulnerable versus Danny Jacobs. Zaza Steele, what's the deal, son? O'Sealy, what's going on, man? He says, back at it again, B. Marsh. Indeed, no one can be placed beyond criticism. Doesn't matter, make you a hater when you're keeping it 100, no doubt about it. That one LVZ was good. LV, what's happening, big man? He says, it's time for Tank to finally fight somebody. You ain't said nothing wrong, bro. Good looks, man. I appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've seen Tank fight. I seen him fight 3 times before at the DC Armory, you know what I mean? On this come up. You know what I mean? I've seen him fight 3 times, and I've been watching Tank fight since 2013, and really and truly, I don't know if he's improved. I don't know. I can't tell if he's improved. To me, I haven't seen any improvement because the caliber of opponents he's fighting, they're just not cutting it. But then when you're faking on Gary Russell, a proven champion, the longest reigning champion, matter of fact, in boxing currently, he's been a world champion since 2015. I mean, look at Gary Russell, a guy who knocked out Johnny Gonzalez. Easy work. Johnny Gonzalez made easy work of Abner Maris. Abner Maris never even called this guy Gary Russell out. Never even tried to get his belt back. 126 WBC strap, man. Salvador Sanchez, these type of guys held that belt. You know what I'm saying? Azuma Nelson held that belt. Wilfredo Gomez. You know what I mean? Eric Morales. Gary Russell has had that belt since 2014, and Abner Maris ain't even want no smoke. He ain't even want to go look at the man Gary Russell. He said, fuck that shit. I'm going to hold me these WBA regular titles. I'm going to lose to Leo Santa Cruz twice. I'm going to get paid. He ain't want no smoke with the man Gary Russell. That just goes to show you the guy is an avoided fighter. It's no secret. He's an avoided fighter. You know what I mean? The man even dropped Lomachenko in that fight. They ain't even give the man, they called it a slip. They ain't give the man credit for dropping him. And that was like a majority decision victory for Lomachenko. When people talk about that fight, they talk like Gary Russell got washed. I was disappointed. I did have Lomachenko win that fight, but the man Gary Russell was in that fight. You know what I'm saying? That's the only loss he has on his record, and he's always talked about he wants to avenge that loss. You know what I mean? 2 divisions away from Lomachenko, but eventually, hopefully, one day he'll move up to 130. Maybe they can fight each other. You know what I mean? But Tank Davis, you can't be talking about and Floyd that that this guy or this the man Tank Davis says Gary Russell Jr. I don't think so. Like they're not trying to fight that guy. I don't think so. That's what the man said. You know what I mean? Man said I don't think so. That's basically to try to tell you he wants no parts of him. And then Floyd Mayweather talking about he gotta do something when he moves up to 130. Like Hugo Ruiz, what he did. Hugo Ruiz, what he did was come off a spectacular victory 3 weeks before he got bamboozled into fighting the man Tank Davis. He should have never taken that fight. For what? Everybody knew what would have happened. You know what I mean? Jesus Cuela. Come on, man. So there ain't no difference between Tank Davis and Tevin Farmer. Both of them fighting nothing but certified cab drivers. Straight up bums. Some cold cut, you know what I mean? And it's about high time if they fight each other, whoop-de-doo. I'd rather see the man Tank Davis fight Miguel Burchout, undefeated at 130. A guy who has a vicious jab, Mexican fighter too. USA versus Mexico. Them Mexican fighters ain't sweet. No sir. You know what I mean? I rate the Mexican fighters as some of the greatest fighters in boxing in history and currently. You know what I mean? That'd make for a great fight. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Cancio. Go solidify those WBA titles y'all both got so it could be one champion. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, the contradiction has to stop. Tank Davis has potential to be a great fighter. I mean, man's knocking out everybody in front of him. But that's what happens when you're fighting guys that's you're supposed to do that to. You know what I mean? Now I'm a fan of Deontay Wilder too, but Stavern in the second fight, Deontay Wilder can crack. But these type of guys, they supposed to get knocked out. These type of guys, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do with them. And no criticism on how Tank is icing these guys, his opponents. You know what I mean? He's doing what you're supposed to do with them. People talk about that Jose Pedraza fight again, like Tank washed the guy. Go watch that fight, man. Tank was getting touched up. That was Tank's hardest fight of his career. It went 5 rounds. Yeah, but he faced adversity in them fights too. The man, what you call it? Pedraza. I don't think he was taking his opponent for granted, but he just lost focus for a sec. I mean, had his hands down, and he got caught with a mean left hand, and that was all she wrote. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer has great defense. That's the best part of his game, in my opinion. You know what I mean? The man is a very good defensive fighter, and I think he can give Tank problems. But I just don't. I don't think he can avoid getting hurt for 12 rounds. You know what I mean? The man Tank got bricks in both hands. But I do believe that the man Tank Davis, I'm sorry, Tevin Farmer, he can make Tank look real stupid. I believe that. I believe Gamboa can too. Cause I believe in these guys' boxing ability more than I do Tank's. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't think both these guys can out for 12 rounds can escape getting hurt by the man Tank Davis. You know what I mean? But Gary Russell, on the other hand, I think he can. I think he can beat Tank Davis. I think he can outbox him. He'll clinch when necessary. Make the man Tank Davis have to reset. And he also got power too. He can hurt the man Tank Davis vice versa. You know what I mean? So that's the fight we'd like to see. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I'm not even gonna say hopefully, man. Tank Davis, Floyd Mayweather, they told you what it is. They didn't want no parts of that man. So don't count on it. But the point of this video is Floyd and Tank need to shut the F up. Can't be talking about the man ain't even at 130, still at featherweight. But everybody you fight, they fought Tank Davis. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Gary Russell. They never fought at super flyweight and bantamweight like most the opponents Tank Davis wants to fight, like the Abner Marises of the world and Jesus Cuelas and what's the other guy? Hugo Ruiz. You know what I mean? But that's what it is. B Marsh Boxing. Leave your thoughts and comments. I'm not on the Tank bandwagon. Tank is more of a social media type of guy, like Adrian Broner. You know what I mean? For the urban community, as in a world star type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? That's where people get to know these guys from. I knew a lot of people who was watching World Star. They didn't know AB from boxing, like in the ring. They didn't even really watch his fights, but when they started watching him, they started following him from World Star. Pops, brush my hair, those times. Even before he was talking about, I'm the can man. And that's the same. I've seen the same type of trajectory for the man Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, I'm not saying he'll be AB 2.0. Possibly. I mean, possibly. I mean, he's lost the belt on the scales, just like AB. He's known to balloon in weight in the off season, just like AB. Um, but at least AB though, he ain't dug nobody. His career, his resume stacked. He got some fighters on his resume, win, lose or draw. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never really been protected. You know what I mean? He been thrown to the wolves, and AB's handled his business. You know, AB was a young champion, four different division champion before he was even 30. You know what I mean? You know, Tank Davis is a guy who's 24, and don't tell me. I remember fellas, even big ups to the man Scorsese, wherever he's at. Hold your head, kid. I don't know where he at, but he's talking about, oh, Tank Davis is young. Oh, Tank Davis. Hey, when you become a world champion, all that young shit is out the window, man. Mike Tyson was 21 years old. Maybe even, was he 21? Youngest champion boxing, and it wasn't no nothing about him being too young. He was knocking out anybody in front of him, except Tony Tucker and then Bone Crusher Smith. These guys were holding for their dear life. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. Tank Davis and Floyd Mayweather, the contradictory ducking tactics gotta stop. Be Marsh Boxing with thoughts and comments, and I'm gone. Peace.